Welcome to the Crazy Dre Podcast Show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we are again. Week 3. We got to talk about fantasy football. We got to talk about to Griff, the fantasy football guru. And you know what? He was right. The offenses, week 1 was soft and sweet. And I had a panic attack about Detroit Lions and their offense coordinator, Morton. Let's talk about Detroit first because we're Detroit guys. He's in Colorado. Do you think, let's start this. Do you think that people should start picking up Isaac Tesla as a fancy background player in case of any emergency? Let's talk about Isaac Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla has really done some great things. He's made some incredible catches. One-handed catch in every game so far this season, plus a touchdown in each preseason game. So he's really had some really phenomenal things, but his overall numbers really aren't that big. This week, catching it kind of around the 10-yard line there, that gets you a few points for the catch, but doesn't get you the touchdown points that you really need for fantasy. So Keep an eye on that one. I would say for sure, if anything were to happen to Jameson Williams or something like that. But keep an eye out. That might be an expanded role for him soon, but super excited for the young man and having him on the Lions team, though, man. We really rocked it out this week and glad that offense was able to get things back running again.
And then, do you think that the Bears? Do you think that this game was over? Do you think that Detroit just had a better team, or do you think that the Bears were just a very bad team with a very good offense coordinator that doesn't have the properties on that team yet? Especially with the running game with Swift, I always compared him to the guy that didn't want to get hit, didn't want to play football, had a football body, but that's the reason why Detroit kind of got out of Detroit. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I mean, Swift has always played well. He played well when he was at Detroit. He played well when he was in Philadelphia with the leading role. He has played well. He's just, and I say well, I'm not saying great or elite. I'm just saying well. So excuse me, kind of a third level down here. Amongst running backs. Mm-hmm. But I don't see any issues with Swift. I think he's going to be good for the remainder of the year. Mm-hmm. I think that the key word in this game really was experience.
Okay.
And it's experience and chemistry that all the Lions players have been playing together for a long time. John Morton, the new offensive coordinator, isn't changing a lot of things from what Ben Johnson did. Calvin Shepard, the defensive coordinator, came up under Aaron Glenn, the old defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. So that's fine. So they're not really changing a lot of things. They're still under the same leadership of Dan Campbell, the same aggressive style of Dan Campbell. The biggest thing for the Bears right now is that for the last several years, every couple of years they change out new head coaches. And so having Ben Johnson there, it's a complicated playbook. It's a lot of like what we said with week 1 and week 2, when we have these I don't remember how long ago it was, 4 years ago when the preseason changed to 3 games instead of 4. Yeah. A lot of these teams are still putting their teams together in week 1 and week 2. Week 1, we saw it especially, right? Week 2, we saw a lot more continuity between most of the teams all across the league. Mm-hmm. And you're just going to see that more coming up here in week 3. Week 3, week 4, that's usually when things kind of get going, and then we'll kind of see injuries after that. But first off, the Bears just need to learn this new system, and they'll be just fine.
Okay. So you think they'll be just fine. Going to week 3 for Detroit, the Baltimore Ravens experienced John Harbaugh, quarterback. You got elite quarterback and then you got Detroit. Detroit, last time Detroit played them was that they got beat by 63-3 or something like that. Uh, is this a game that do you think that Detroit fans should expect a close game or a lost game? I feel personally Detroit needs to keep the game at a very low key, low scoring game in order to keep their quarterback off the field. I feel like that's very important because I feel like if it's going to be a high scoring game, we're going to lose that game. For Detroit, I mean, I'm kind of confused by this game personally because Detroit is very good at scoring, but with Lamar Jackson, if you can keep him, if you get him on the field, he's just going to outscore you one way or another.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is Detroit thinking?
Well, and the Ravens are a very tough team.
Mm-hmm.
What I can say is that I'm so glad that they won last week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see an 0-2 Ravens team coming up against us. That I think would make for a very aggressive Ravens team. The biggest thing with these guys is that they love to run the football, and it's Derrick Henry, and then with Lamar, our issue over the last few years that has kind of given us struggle is a running quarterback. So, like in the playoffs last year, we had Jaden Daniels kind of broke loose on us. We've seen this with Lamar. We've seen this with a few other quarterbacks now that are more of your mobile quarterbacks, where we'll have great coverage and they'll just be able to get through. Some of the other issues that we have right now is our depth chart. Looking at our defensive line, we have DJ Reader in there, and we have Tyleek Williams, the rookie, but we don't have Aleem McNeil back. And Aleem McNeil is another one of those really big pieces that we have right in the middle of our defensive line that can help stop like the Derrick Henry from running straight up the middle. I'm not going to say stop, but help stop, right? Just slow down that run a little bit. And so without him, we really, really need Tyleek Williams to step up big time here. DJ Reader is one of the best run-stopping defenders in the league, so hopefully he has a really strong game as well with those guys together. Hopefully we can slow down some of the stuff that happens with Derrick Henry going straight up the middle. We do have Aiden Hutchinson, who's extremely aggressive as an edge, so with him coming around quickly, if they run the ball kind of his way, he'll be going around the outside of the tackle. Derrick Henry will go inside the tackle. And we got to make sure that our linebackers are blocking up that area after the fact. So I think that those are the big things to worry about with Henry. And then I think that we need to have like Brian Branch keeping a close eye on Lamar Jackson and just spy him the whole game.
Okay. Spy the whole game. Do you think it's better off that Detroit plays man-to-man the whole game besides zone? Because I don't see Baltimore spreading the field as if they were Kansas City in the glory years or the Rams in the glory years. I feel like they're very man-to-man stuff. So I feel like Detroit should play man-to-man and make the I think Detroit should actually make the receivers beat us, not a running back. Am I right?
Yeah, well, and I think that's the thing is that our secondary, I think, is strong enough now that we can do that and we can play man-to-man. Zay Flowers had a great game. Rashad Bateman has played well. But I think that our corners can hold up with those guys. Have Kirby Joseph out deep, just ready for, either side of the field, whatever's coming. DeAndre Hopkins also went there. So, lost a step, but still that guy can catch the ball like very few other guys can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think being able to just have our secondary take care of that. I think Brian Branch needs to be on Lamar Jackson the whole game, making sure that he doesn't run forward too far and break away big runs.
Mm-hmm.
We can afford some small stuff, but not all the big runs. We need to make sure all those big explosive runs kind of stay behind. You're not too worried about Derrick Henry going out in the passing game, so
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about keeping a safety on kind of a passing attack from the running back.
Yeah.
But Mark Andrews is a big deal at tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we can have Amik Robertson taking care of damage right there for us. So I think we can be okay, but we just need to make sure that our defensive line is really, really making sure that we stop Derrick Henry and that we have our linebackers ready for that second row for anything that gets back and through. So it's going to be a lot of running from the Ravens, I think, this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Detroit will be well prepared. I just don't think that the Baltimore receivers can actually outdo Detroit's defense. I think if you're right, if you can stop the run and you can obtain Lamar Jackson, you'll be all right. Let's go to the very more important for fantasy football players out there, everyone out there that's listening out there. We got JJ McCarthy, we got Joe Burrow, we got Justin Fields. All these quarterbacks are hurt. Joe Burrow is out, turf injury for 3 months. Uh, it seems as though that Jake Browning is going to be the backup quarterback for Cincinnati in the long run, not in the short run. In the long run, do you think that Cincinnati can obtain enough space, energy to keep in the playoffs mode with Jake Browning? For the fantasy football teams out there, Jake Browning is probably a decent pick to pick up because if you got Joe Burrow out, you got to pick up Jake Browning, right?
Yeah, so if you drafted Joe Burrow, he was probably one of the earlier quarterbacks drafted, which means you probably didn't grab a second quarterback shortly after that. So you might have a lower end quarterback. You could try to play whoever that might be that you have as your number two. But Jake Browning is going to be an awesome step in for you. We've seen this before where Joe Burrow was out for the season. Jake Browning came in. He played very, very well. These are still elite level talents with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They also have Mike Gesicki at tight end. And Chase Brown is a nice pass catching running back. So you're going to have your check down options available. You're going to have your deep options available. This is going to hurt Jamar Chase and T. Higgins a little bit, just a smidge, but it is going to bring these guys down just a little bit. But Jake Browning for a quarterback, I mean, he might have 3 or 4 touchdowns on a regular basis. So
3 and 4.
Jake Browning could be a huge backup quarterback to have for you.
Wait a second. 3? You saying 3 4 per game or just like
per game? Yeah.
Wow. And
yeah,
really
he might also have 3 interceptions to go along with that. But okay. In this last game against the Jaguars, I think Jamar Chase still had like 165 yards and a touchdown. Jake Browning threw for 300 yards, had 3 touchdowns. So with Jake Browning, I think that you're going to have a very, very, very good quarterback out there on the field for you for fantasy.
But don't you think the numbers are a little misleading because the Jaguars kind of kicked themselves in the foot or kind of shot themselves in the foot because they were supposed to win that game, right? They had the opportunity to win the game.
I don't remember where the line was on that one, but the Jaguars are a lot better team than what they were last year. So keep an eye on the Jaguars, but they're not all the way there yet where they need to be. So
So
The Bengals, the thing still is that they have this elite offense, but their defense still is not very good. So as long
yeah,
as other teams keep putting points up against them, the Bengals are going to have to keep scoring.
So I did hear this on other sources that that the Bengals have a huge problem with the running back, and because if Brown has to keep throwing the football because they don't have a running back, you may lose more points with the two guys, the receivers that the Bengals have. That may create more of a problem for if you have Jake Brown on your team because they don't have a running game. So the thing about Cincinnati, Joe Burrow was doing everything just to keep the team afloat. And now that he's not there, the defense isn't going to be there anyways. So how much faith do you have with Jake Burrow? I mean, with Browning and the receivers if you don't have a running game?
Great points. And really, the bigger thing is that they don't have a running game because they don't have an offensive line.
Okay.
So they need to build the offensive line to really give Chase Brown a better chance at running the ball. But that's something else that Chase Brown can do besides running the ball. Because I think he's only got like a 2.5 yard average right now running. Yeah. But he's a good pass catcher. So for pass catching, he's also going to be out there as like a receiving threat. And that's gonna help out Jake Browning's numbers. But that's the thing that's the thing that I was saying right in my last comment was that other teams are going to be scoring into double digits ahead of the Bengals. And so the Bengals are gonna have to keep throwing the ball. And I think that Jake Browning is somebody that can do that for them.
Okay. Justin Fields concussion. A lot of stuff going on with the Jets. You know, I feel like he's doing a lot to do more than he has to. Any sad story for Justin Fields, or do you think he's in the bad situation in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Yeah, well, I think that he's in an okay situation. It's just Justin Fields is just Justin Fields, and he's just not totally making anything work. So I know it's hard when you got to switch things around like he did with the Bears. He had different offensive setups he had to go to, and then going to the Jets here. I mean, it's hard until you get something straightened out and you can have one offensive scheme to follow. Then you can kind of play your game from there. But you saw him. He had a couple of nice runs with the Jets. I mean, they put up like 40 points against the Steelers, right? It was, or I think 38-41 or something like that in week one. Or maybe it was 40-41, I think. But, you know, I mean, the team's very capable of scoring points. Not a lot of sympathy for Justin Fields, though. He's always kind of runs himself into some danger. Potential concussion this week. If you need a backup quarterback, I would say probably just use whoever your number 2 is on your team. But
who's the number 2 on your team?
What's that?
Who's the number 2 on whatever? If you picked Justin Fields,
for the Jets
in your draft, and then you had to pick up a team at the time that you did the draft, who would have been that person?
Well, if you took Justin Fields, he probably would have been one of the later quarterbacks taken. So hopefully you would have taken another quarterback shortly after that. But any one of these other guys, though, like the J.J. McCarthy, the Trevor Lawrence, those guys could have been in that same area. Maybe you picked up someone else a little bit higher, like a Kyler Murray. And you just kind of got a hold of someone. But if you already have someone, you should be good. I think Fields is going to end up playing. He's got to get through concussion protocol, which is difficult to do within a week. But if you want another guy as a backup, Justin Fields' actual backup with the Jets is Tyrod Taylor. I have said this for years, but Tyrod Taylor has been a top 20 quarterback in the NFL since he got to the NFL. He used to be the backup for Joe Flacco for the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
He did that for several years. He finally got a shot in Buffalo. In Buffalo, he was a top 15 fantasy quarterback. He is a mobile guy. He's a little bit older now, but he does take care of the football. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He can throw a bunch of yards. He can get some touchdowns. I think he will outperform Justin Fields.
Well,
I think just because now he is like a 35-year-old quarterback, I don't think in 1 week they're going to give him the job. Fields would have to miss probably more time than that, or Fields would have to really do poorly several weeks in a row. But Tyrod Taylor, I think, would actually be the better quarterback for that team.
ooh, there's something.
So for just a 1 week, if you needed a guy, Tyrod Taylor could be the guy.
All right, that makes sense. All right, we got to go with the Minnesota Vikings going on the road for 2 weeks in a row in the European countries of the whole world, which to me to this day, why are we doing this? I'm pretty sure other Europeans in the world are thinking, this is not football. We play football and then we kick the ball. But J.J. McCarthy, high ankle sprain, 2 games, probably average. Who would you pick for him to be the replacement on your fantasy football if he's really out?
Yeah, and that's the thing with J.J. McCarthy. He's probably already your number 2 quarterback. You probably have someone else as your number 1. But again, kind of in the same spot, kind of going with the same trend here. I don't think you're in a horrible spot putting in Carson Wentz here, who is the backup. He is another guy. He's mobile. He'll try to run the ball a little bit. But what we haven't seen for him in some of these other last couple of teams that he's been on, because he's really becoming quite the journeyman now. But with Minnesota, you still have the really good offensive line. We have injuries with Aaron Jones right now. Jordan Mason might be running the ball a little bit more, but he's the sturdier runner anyway. So hopefully he can take a little bit of the pressure off. But you have Justin Jefferson, you have Adam Thielen, you have Jalen Naylor. Hopefully Adam Thielen's a little more caught back up with a playbook now. Jalen Naylor looked really good last week, even though he only had a few opportunities. But Minnesota just in general had a tough game. So this week with Carson Wentz, if you need a guy for a couple of weeks, any of the other backup quarterbacks I've already mentioned, or Carson Wentz, not for the whole season, but for 2 to 4 weeks, that's a decent backup for you.
And here's a fun fact. You know the fun fact about those, right? Carson Wentz, backup quarterback, first player in NFL history to start at least one game for 6 consecutive seasons on 6 different teams.
Yeah.
Is he don't you think he should get a memo? It's time to be a coach.
No. No, because he's too much talent at quarterback still.
But why has he not been able to actually become that?
Well, other teams have second and third string quarterbacks. I mean, he's a second string quarterback. The thing is that he's going to teams where the quarterbacks are usually more vulnerable and they do sometimes get hurt. That's why he's on that team, because he's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. I mean, the NFL teams are choosing him to be their backup quarterback because they know they need somebody, because their starter is probably going to miss some time.
So regardless of what he was drafted, one of the number 1 draft picks.
Yeah, number 2, right behind Jared Goff, our guy.
So yeah, exactly. So he's never going to ever have that opportunity to be a number 1 quarterback ever again. He doesn't. Does he not?
Starting right away.
Starting
right away with his time with the Eagles.
Yeah.
He got injured, and Nick Foles had to end up going and playing the rest of the season and going all the way to the Super Bowl. He's just done so much damage to his knees. He's he doesn't have that same mobility. He's got some mobility. He doesn't have what he used to have for that. And I think that because he hasn't been able to escape the pocket as well, I think that that's thrown him off a little bit in his game. But he's still one of the better guys. And again, in Minnesota, they have enough weapons on offense. They'll keep him upright most of the time.
So as long as they protect him, he should be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks. There's also word about Cincinnati. This is a fun little trade here. That there are people out there in Cincinnati, bingo land, that want to bring back Andy Dalton as a third string or second string quarterback drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, right? Is there any possibility that Andy Dalton would just make a resurrection to help this team that drafted him? Or is this just kind of a hokey pokey gift thing that Bengal fans like, yeah, we'll take him, but I don't know what he's going to do. It's kind of like,
Andy Dalton is currently the backup quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. If anything were to happen to Bryce Young, Andy Dalton is the guy that will step in. He has played some all right time. When he came in a few years ago for the Panthers, he came in and he played well. After that, he went to Dallas, and Dak got hurt, and he looked really bad in Dallas. I know they were beat up on their offensive line and everything else, but that was the last chance we had to see him. He's 37 years old now. The arm is just not quite what it was before. You would think Andy Dalton's probably a guy that you probably wouldn't want for more than a game or two. I definitely would want Jake Browning over Andy Dalton at this point in Dalton's career. But, yeah, okay. Fun to think of the Red Rebel coming back home.
Okay, and then we got to talk about I got to talk about this because you were right, and I had to bring this up. Daniel Jones, Colts quarterback. A lot of people kind of wrote him off. You just kind of sat on him and you said last podcast, you might want to pick up Daniel Jones.
Yeah, preach it every week. And it's, all of these guys, I'm talking about, any quarterback that gets hurt, pick up their own backup on this list of guys that we've mentioned so far. But absolutely, if Daniel Jones is still out there, if Trevor Lawrence is still out there, those two guys need to be on somebody's lineup. So if those guys are still available right now on the waiver wire, go out there, get those guys, and then take a look at the backups. But hopefully somebody's wised up and has taken Daniel Jones by now. But he's gonna be strong all season long.
And then one other guy that we have to talk about for the 49ers is Wan'Dale Robinson. All of the New York Giants, he's kind of making a spurt of a moment thing. And with Russell Wilson as a quarterback for New York Giants, he seems to be one of the receivers that you have to kind of pick up if you have the opportunity to. Have you heard about Wan'Dale Robinson?
Yeah, the thing with Wan'Dale Robinson is that he was always supposed to be good.
Oh.
And he just never was. And every year he ends up on the starting roster as the WR2. I think 2 years ago he might have actually been the WR1. But the WR2 or WR3 on the team depth chart was always Darius Slayton. And somehow by the end of the year, Darius Slayton ended up being the guy.
Oh, okay.
Now, what we've seen so far this year with Russell Wilson at quarterback, and, quarterbacks just kind of get a familiarity with the guy, and they tend to target him a little more. But with Russell Wilson here, he has been targeting Wayndale Robinson more than Darius Slayton. Slayton's numbers are down. Of course, Malik Neighbors just bursted way out of town this week. But, yeah, Wayndale Robinson's a good guy to keep an eye on. I personally probably am not adding him to my team. But, yeah, this last week with the Cowboys putting up so many points and the Giants trying to keep up with it, a lot of the offensive guys looked really good. So at this point, I would put him on my watch list. I wouldn't necessarily say that I need to add him to my roster.
Okay, how about we'll go with the San Francisco Giants. One on Jennings, ankle injury. The 49ers don't really have a big old receiving core. How does that hurt San Fran so much? With Mac Jones as a quarterback, do you just if you have any players on the 49ers, do you just retreat and start over as fast as you can if you have any 49er players?
No, I think all your 49er players look good right now.
Wait, how about the tight end for 49ers? What's his name?
Yeah, well, so George Kittle's on IR.
Yeah.
And
So what do you do?
Tonze's come in and played very well the last 2 weeks for him.
Mm-hmm.
So he has been a totally serviceable tight end. So if you need a tight end, that is a good spot for you. George Kittle should be another 3 weeks or so before he comes back.
Okay.
But, yeah, if you need to add an extra guy, you should be good. Juwan Jennings has the injury on there, but, 89 yards and a touchdown this last week. He looked really good. And with Mac Jones, I think that something that I've kind of said is that I've not actually been that impressed with Brock Purdy. And I know I'm the only one saying this because his numbers look decent. He looks like about the 10th best quarterback in the league. But the thing is, with the offensive line, with the run game, with the receivers that they've had, and especially when you had Debo and Brandon Ayuk out there, this team should have a better quarterback than that. This should be a top 5 quarterback. You should have an elite quarterback because of all these other things. It's kind of like what we've been saying about the Minnesota Vikings, how Sam Darnold had success and then JJ should have success. It's just there's too many weapons out there on that team, and the offensive scheme for Kyle Shanahan is too good for your quarterback to just kind of be a middling quarterback.
Brock Purdy, what are you saying? What are you being nice? And I'll say it for you. Brock Purdy is a mediocre quarterback, not great at reading the defense. He's decent at reading defense. As long as he has a running game, he's good. But with a running game kind of
and he's not making a lot of mistakes, right?
Yeah.
If you think on this team, the last time the 49ers really had like a long-term quarterback, you go back to like Alex Smith, who was always an efficient guy. He always kind of finished in the middle.
Yeah.
But the rest of the offense was not as good as this offense is. If you had Alex Smith in his prime with this offense, Alex Smith would be going to Pro Bowls.
Wow.
So I think Mac Jones, former first-round pick quarterback, I think he's just a much better quarterback than Brock Purdy. I think we're going to see really great things from San Francisco over the next few weeks.
Just because Mac Jones is in the center as the quarterback.
With Mac Jones out there and because of all the other pieces that are on the team. So as long as CMC keeps doing what he's doing.
And then, if we're talking about quarterbacks, let's talk about Dallas Cowboys. Prescott they almost lost the game, and Prescott looks like Prescott throws bad passes and has his moments, and then for some reason Dallas Cowboys think that this is still the go-to guy.
Yeah. Well, and he put up 40 points. They have a good running back. They fixed the offensive line. They gave CeeDee Lamb kind of a partner out there with George Pickens. The return guy that they have, what was his name? Kavontae Turpin has really stepped up as a really nice third piece in that receiving core, along with Jake Ferguson at tight end. The offense is not the issue, right? If you're putting up 40 points a game, it's not your quarterback's fault if you lose. So I like Dak right now. I think that he's in a good spot. Even the first week against the Eagles, they should have won that game. It was a couple of drops that CD had that Dak had in position that he should have made those catches. We should be looking at a 2-0 Cowboys team that has an elite level offense. So very potent attack. The defense, I think, still looks good. They're not quite where they were a couple of years ago, but I think the defense still looks really good in a lot of pieces. They're, of course, they're learning what they need to do with Kenny Clark now at defensive tackle and with Micah Parsons, of course, out. But I think that they're going to be a very good team. I think they're going to be really hard to beat this year.
I hear it. Anything else that we should talk about? Do we want to? I'm going to leave it alone. I was going to talk about any major games this coming week, but forget about it.
You know what? I've got 2 pickups on the waiver wire that I want to just mention real quick.
Yeah, thank you. Let's do it.
And it's one running back. Travis Etienne seems to be still available in a lot of leagues. Go out there and get him. He's got to be better than whoever the worst player is on your bench. He is currently in the top half of running backs in the league. They got rid of Tank Bigsby. There's not the same level of competition. They have an offensive genius, Liam Cohn, as their head coach. Travis Etienne is going to be really, really good for you, just like he was 2 years ago, where he finished, I think, 5th or 6th or something in fantasy points. So keep an eye out for Travis Etienne.
What's the second player?
And the second one is a wide receiver from the Chicago Bears, Rome Odunze. So we all kind of thought that DJ Moore was going to be the number 1 wide receiver. DJ just can't seem to put it together. And what we've seen from him in the last couple of years with Chicago is just kind of inconsistencies, like not like what he had in Carolina. And Rome Odunze, second year now, he looks very, very sharp, and he looks like he's the weapon that Ben Johnson's really going to utilize in his offense. So if Rome Odunze is still out there on your waiver wire, grab him. He should be out there.
All right. And I'll give DJ Moore the benefit. Now I'll say this: he's an older player. He got hit hard. Maybe the first week and maybe the last week, but he got hit hard. I don't know who hit him, the Vikings. I don't know who hit him, but I think he is probably a better receiver, but he's now playing scared because he got hit. And it's one of those concussion protocols that in his head he has. He's an older player, Odunze. He's never got hit that hard. And that's the guy for you because he doesn't know what it feels like. And I've noticed that. You're right. Even with Caleb Williams, he just kept going to him. And I don't think Ben Johnson even made those play calls for him to get those catches. He was just the guy that Caleb Williams feels more comfortable with. I think that you have it good. If he's on a waiver wire, you're struggling, you got to go with him. Take it from Griff.
Well, and this is no accident either. This was, the 9th pick in the draft last year. So early first round draft pick for a wide receiver. So he was always supposed to be a special talent, and he's kind of looking like he is. So
So there you go. Griff knows what he's talking about. He is a fantasy football guru. I can't tell you look, I can tell you this. I can tell you back and forth about Detroit Lions, everything about them. But when you go and listen to someone that knows about fantasy football players, boom, bada bang, he knows what he's talking about. There you go, folks. Thanks, Griff, for showing up again. He'll probably not be able to be on the program for at least a couple weeks. He's got to go travel around the world. He's got to go find Carmen San Diego off the computer and find where she is scheming and stealing stuff. He had to go find her. One of the best computer games ever. When computers first came out.
Where in
All
the
your
world
Gen X generation. Finding Carmen San Diego was a great game. It was just stupid. But Griff, any other thing that you want to push out there? Anything that you want to say? Any website? Anything? I really think that you should start your own little page on Twitter or anywhere that you just spit out your guts about fantasy football. You got it. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not the smartest guy with technology, but it's fun to hop on here and talk football with you for a little while. So if you don't shut me up, I can sit here and I can talk for hours. So.
For hours. Don't worry about it.
I appreciate you having me back on the show, though.
Thank you for coming on the show. I want to sound like what's that guy's name again?
Christopher Walken kind of going there.
Walken. We can do this, no problem. We can do this. Or I can turn into Joe Pesci. Get the fuck out of here. Or I just swear, came in for this on YouTube. Damn it. I can probably put that on YouTube.
You were quoting a movie line.
I was quoting him on all right. I have to figure this out. Folks, thanks for watching the show. Thanks for Griff being on the show. Find me on Spotify, Patreon. Griff, do you have anything that you want people to follow you for fantasy football? Is that guru that you are?
Thanks everyone for watching and listening. Go get Daniel Jones. It's just ridiculous not to have him on your team by now. So
Daniel Jones, New York Giants. All those Giants fans will be. It's good that I don't live in New York.
The Giants never gave him protection.
They probably find me and like, oh, you got that Griff on the show. It's your fault. Punch in the face. Griff said it, not me. All right, folks. Peace out. I'm out of here. Thanks, Griff.
See ya.
Yep. All right.